Heyo!
Heyo.
Welcome back to the Nosebleed section. I am Bryce. On the other side, we got Dougie B. How you doing, Doug?
Doing great. Doing
Episode
great.
22.
22.
Just me and you. Let's get go. No
Yeah.
NBA talk today.
Yeah.
It's all we've done for 2 straight podcasts. So we figured we better get some baseball, better get some fantasy football, some NFL stuff in here.
Yeah. We'll miss Patrick dearly, but we have not seen the last of him.
No.
We'll have to get we got people that are gonna come on. So we got friends in all kinds of places.
Yeah. So with that being said, it's the 22nd episode. You got some 22s to quiz me on, Doug?
Yeah. Before we do that, just real quick, gonna do my annual email us. So we are the nosebleed section number 23 at gmail.com. So the nosebleed section 23 at gmail.com. So email us if you want us to talk about something, or find us on Facebook or YouTube. We're on the tube now. Yes. All right. 22 best athletes wearing number 22. Top of the list. This guy
Michael
played.
Red.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna do that too, but that wouldn't have been hard for you. This guy played in the NFL from 1990 to 2004.
That's what I was scared of. I know there's a running back in there, right?
Predominantly played his career for one team.
I know there's like 4 guys that I'm thinking of. I don't know which.
This is arguably one of the greatest running backs of all time.
Right. What's
initial? I can give you his initials.
Give me his first one, because I don't want to say the wrong one.
His first name initial?
Yes.
E.
Okay, Emmitt Smith then.
Yes, you got
I was thinking of a few running backs back then. I didn't know if he wore 22 for sure, but I knew the bunch of guys in that era did. Anyways.
Yep. Here's a good one. This guy played in the NBA from 1983 to 1998.
1983.
Played for one team.
Clyde Drexler?
That is correct. Houston Rockets.
And then
here's another big basketball one.
Yeah, I was gonna say the other one's got to be Elgin Baylor, right?
Yep.
Then he wear. Those are probably the 2 old school ones. A lot of people now wear 22.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a pretty popular number actually for current players.
Yeah, baseball wise, I think of Roger Clemens and then like Clayton Kershaw.
Clayton Kershaw's a big one. There's another big time NBA legend. Yeah, Christian Yelich, obviously, for baseball.
Another
big time NBA player.
What era?
75 to 95.
Oh boy. I don't know if I know this one. 75 to 95.
His initials are MM.
MM.
Our last one.
Mike Miller. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Who is this one?
Moses Malone.
Moses Malone. You know what?
I
don't think I've ever seen his jersey. I thought he was a single digit guy.
Nope. Apparently 22. I actually couldn't have told you that either. I just saw it on the list, but yeah.
I would have never got that.
Yeah, one of the all-time greats. NBA champion, Finals MVP, 3-time MVP, 12-time All-Star, ABA All-Star. Yeah, he's got a bunch of accolades.
When you play for 20 years.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. 1,455 games played. He averaged 20 points, 12 boards, 1.7 assists in his career. So, heck of a career for Mr. Moses Malone. But we're talking about the sport with that guy behind you there. Talking baseball today. Not all baseball.
Yes.
But lots of good baseball stuff happening.
Yeah, we'll start with I guess the Brewers actually beat the Reds in that last series right before the trade deadline.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
So, went into the All-Star break a game behind the Reds. So, speaking of the All-Star game or All-Star weekend, Vladdy Jr. won the home run derby. Did you watch anything?
I did not. Nope. We had a bunch. I was just loaded with family stuff the last 4 days. So.
Okay. Yeah. My biggest
thing.
The
derby was early last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It was Thursday, Friday night, whatever it was. Anyways,
Yeah.
the one thing I would complain about, I like their little bracket they do. So
Yeah.
basically, two guys face off.
It is
I
kind
do
of
like
fun.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only complaint I would say this year is you don't see the ball land. Like it was flying. Like boom, he
Yeah.
hits one out, and you can tell it's going out, and then right back to
They
him.
just,
It's like,
yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, I guess
I,
we're just
like you
gonna
want to
fly
see the
through this,
fans going after it and
or how deep it goes.
yeah, which deck is
Back
it
in
going to
the
land on? Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
miss back in the day when the guy from the NFL, back. Do you remember that guy? He
Oh,
always did he does all NFL stuff, but he
you're
did
talking Chris Berman,
I can't think of his name.
the guy who goes,
I can
that guy?
yes, he does.
Yeah.
He always did the
Yeah.
home run derby,
Yeah.
and every
I
time
think I
somebody
do
hit
know
one,
what you're saying now. Yeah. 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 Okay.
I kind of miss that, but that's just probably me getting old, just missing the childhood
Oh yeah, for
part of
sure.
the home run
There's
derby.
nostalgia in there for sure. Yeah.
But it came down to, I think, who did he go up against? Was it Julio in the championship game, the hometown Seattle Mariner? I believe it
Yeah, I
was.
think it was. Yep. Yep.
So I, I'd imagine Vladdy was probably top three favorite to win that. And when he hits them, man, those things
Both.
go.
It's like they freaking turn on fire.
Yeah, you could tell
He's a monster.
you could tell who his dad is.
Well, he even hits harder than his dad, which is saying something.
I know, but they got that same type of swing.
Oh, for sure,
Anyways,
for sure. Yeah.
so that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
The All-Star game, I didn't watch. I probably watched the first four innings, and then I kind of tuned in and out from there. I had a lot of stuff going on, but none of the Brewers played. Corbin Burns ended up making it,
Yep.
and then Devin Williams was there, but neither one of them played. But
Honestly, thank God he didn't play because
yeah,
needed him to for a save today.
needed them,
So, yep.
which we'll get to that. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and the NL won for the first time since 2012.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they were on a
that
massive drought. Yeah.
with the Brewers being in the NL, I always root for them, even if there's not
Yeah.
a lot of Brewers there if they're getting any playing time. But it's cool to see them win.
Yep.
First inning, there was a bunch of pretty cool highlight plays, catches, and stuff like that. So I didn't watch all of it. I do wish they'd wear their own jerseys. I complained the same thing about the
NBA.
All-Star game and NBA. It's like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it just looks cooler.
Yeah.
Your jerseys, I know they got the logo on the hat, but you can't really tell. It's just cool to see like Brewers out there with Cardinals and
Right.
whoever else. But
Yeah.
oh well. Not a whole lot more to say. I don't get too into the All-Star weekend. More or less, I was like, thank God the Brewers kind of needed a little break. We got a lot of injuries. We played
Yeah.
17 straight games, 17 days in a row. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Quick thing with those jerseys, honestly, someone told me this once, and it makes total sense that the league's like pushed to have those jerseys just for the sales of them, which makes sense. I mean, because Christian Yelich goes to the All-Star game and wears his normal jersey, that's not going to bump up his sales. It might a tiny bit just because people watch the All-Star game, whatever. But like, if you have it all, you can say, "Oh, I have Christian Yelich's All-Star jersey." Like, I have a couple Pro Bowl football jerseys, just because I wanted the Pro Bowl jersey as a kid. So I mean,
I've heard that
business
too.
wise, it does make sense. But yeah, I agree. I kind of like them to see. I like to see them wear their regular.
Only
But
only argument I'd say, well, I do like that the Mariners, like you got to see Otani in kind of like Mariner colors, so that was kind of cool
oh
when
yeah,
they're
yeah,
chanting
yeah.
"Come to Seattle" and stuff like
Yep,
that. I
yep,
don't know if you
yep.
saw that. So
Yeah, yeah.
that part's cool, but I guess they could fix it by just take like the home jersey of like the Brewers white jerseys. Just take that instead of it
Mhm.
saying Brewers or Milwaukee across the shirt. Just have it say National or whatever.
Sure. Yeah. Oh
To
yeah,
ha-
yeah, yeah. That'd be a lot of work,
so
but it'd
it's
be cool. Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's kind of meeting in the middle there that way.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. That'd be
I don't
cool.
know.
I would buy that jersey.
Right.
Like
Just said National with the Brewer with
yeah,
the yeah. I
just
don't know.
Brewer color. It's like an all-star jersey, but with your own team colors, basically.
Right, and then
That'd
you
be
can
cool.
have. I like how they kind of do it with the hats, where it's kind of always white in the middle. They change up the hats a little bit, but they still kind
Yep.
of keep their own hats. You could do the same with the jersey, just switch it up a little bit.
Yep. Yep.
But anyways,
Yeah.
that's enough for the All-Star weekend. Trade deadline, that's coming up pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
Some
Otani,
big
what's your prediction?
some
Is he getting traded?
yeah, well, some big questions. Obviously, Otani's the big thing. If he does get traded, I don't think he's going to like the Yankees or the Dodgers.
No, I don't
I
either.
think
No.
They can just sign him
Right.
this offseason.
Right.
I guess you could say, hey, well, we want to sign him this offseason. If like you're the Yankees, you could really use a guy like Otani. You need the lefty bat. You need the pitching this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you could get that cheaper. And then Otani, like, I think there's just going to be a desperate team out there. I don't know who. A lot of people have been saying the Reds, but I
Oh
think the whole Red stuff
God.
calmed down
Yeah,
after the.
because especially after
Honestly,
the last few weeks.
I think personally, Otani stays and the Angels make a big move. I don't know if you saw that in my text here I got on the agenda, but
Mm-hmm.
I have them trading for Marcus Stroman. Spoiler.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been saying
Um,
that for a couple months.
no,
That
I
obviously now,
before
yeah,
reading this, I felt the same way. I think Otani stays, even if they want to trade him. The fact that he is going to be a free agent, I think, is going to be too tall of an order for a team that's going to have to effectively trade their entire franchise for this dude.
yeah, you're gonna have to
And
trade.
pray to God, there'd have to be something in writing that says he
Right.
is going to sign a contract with you in the offseason, because that would be the biggest swing and a miss in baseball history, arguably, if you trade for that dude and then he signs someone else in the offseason.
Well, it could be like a Brewers CC Sabathia thing where
Yeah,
if you trade for him right now, that's saving 2 weeks until the deadline when a bunch of trades come by.
yeah,
And he's
yeah.
basically two players. I think, like, for instance, let's say the Brewers trade for him. You got three outfielders in the minors right now that are really good. You could probably trade one of them. You got a couple of really good pitchers down in the minors. You could trade one of them,
Mm.
and then maybe send like a Monasterio. He's been playing a
Good,
lot, or like a
get
Bryce
a good hit
Terang.
today. Yeah, yeah.
I'm not saying that's what I want to happen, but I could see a team like the Brewers doing that and being like, all right, you're pitching every fourth day and you're in the lineup every day because we're going to use every penny that we're
Mm.
going to spend on you this
Yep.
year, like the Brewers did with
Use
CC
the crap out
Sabathia.
of you. Yeah, yeah.
I could see that happening, but again, I think the Angels are going to be asking for so much, and then the other teams are going to be like, we have him for 65, 70 games. Like, you're not getting our top three prospects and a couple guys ready for the majors right now. Like, no. So
Do you just off offhand real quick? Do you remember what year CC played for the Brewers?
08,
Yes. I saw
yeah.
that the other day. I could not believe how long
Was
it's
that long
been.
ago?
Yeah.
Well, that was
I
the
was
first
in
year
middle
too. The
school.
Brewer.
I was like, there's no way I was in middle school when that, and I was. It's
Yeah, that
wild.
was the first. That was the first year the Brewers are actually. We sucked for a long time before that.
Long time.
That was
Yeah,
the
our
first year we were.
my elementary years and stuff growing up were
Yeah,
bad. It wasn't until about my middle school years that we actually played, and my younger elementary years too. The Packers had some pretty big dud seasons in there as well.
honestly, the last 30
Bucks,
years we've been
obviously.
pretty. 30 years we've been pretty blessed with Packers Brewers because before our time it was rough.
Yeah, Bucks not so much, but yeah, Packers Brewers for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bucks sucked a lot when we were kids, but obviously they got Giannis now, so
yep.
we got
Um,
to see half their championships.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, you said was there something you wanted to address with the Mets?
So the Mets, Padres, and Cardinals are all teams that I didn't personally predict all of them to be really good. But
Yeah.
I mean, they were big spenders in the offseason. The Cardinals are the Cardinals. They have probably some of the best corner outfielders or corner infielders in the history of baseball. And they, quite frankly, those three teams just suck right now.
It's wild.
And I don't know if they're going to sell. Like, if you're the Padres, everybody besides Juan Soto and Blake Snell, so pitcher and an outfielder, and you just traded for Juan Soto, so he's a little different.
Mm,
Everybody else is locked up from like 5 to 12 years. So are you going to trade that or are you going to make some minor moves?
yeah.
I don't think any of these teams blow it up, but I think they all make some minor moves to be like, all right, we're not going to completely sell, but we're half selling, half buying what we need.
Retool is what they like to call
Retool and
that.
base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is
So
yeah.
I
I
don't think you're going to see Juan Soto for the Padres get traded. I don't think you're going to see Arenado or Goldschmidt on the Cardinals get traded. I
no.
don't think you're going to see Scherzer or Verlander or Pete Alonso on the
Pete
Mets get
Alonso,
traded.
yeah, no,
I
no.
think you're going to see a lot of the middle of the lineup, fourth or fifth starter, a decent bullpen arm. Like Hader, I think he might get traded because I think he's a free agent after this year. And they're not struggling with the pitching, the Padres. They just, all them expensive bats they got can't hit. I don't know if they got to
Right.
bring a vet in and tweak something, but I don't
Yeah,
think
it's
they
wild.
sell big time.
I feel like preseason, those three teams were arguably in the top 5 conversation in the conference.
Maybe in the league. I bet you could.
Yeah.
You
And
could
all
say,
of them, they're all below 500, right?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
So I think the Padres are probably the best of the three, but I think they're still under 500, which is
And they're in the West. That's got the
bad.
Dodgers and the
Or,
Diamondbacks have been playing good, and
yeah. Yep.
so I mean, yeah, they were probably ranked up there with Yankees and Braves, and then it was probably these three teams. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
know.
yeah.
So
Holy cow. Diamondbacks are in third and they're 10 games over 500. That's wild.
yeah, they just went on a bit of a losing streak.
The
Otherwise, they
Rockies
were
are obviously terrible, but
yeah. So just some of my predictions. Just I wrote down a few names where I think they're going to go. Um, we're just talking about the Padres, so I guess I'll say Blake Snell. I think the Reds might buy him. They kind of need an arm. I think he'd fit in pretty good there. Um, I think that's what the Reds need. They need pitching, and a guy like Blake Snell would be good for them. Lucas Giolito of the White Sox. I think he's gonna end up in LA with the Dodgers. They've been linked to him, so somebody's linked to the Dodgers. They usually end up there. Um, Next, I wrote down Marcus Stroman to the Angels. That might shock a lot of people. I already said it earlier, though. Uh, the Cubs, he wants an extension, and the Cubs are not going to give it to him. And Cubs are kind of right there with the Padres and the Mets, where you're 8 to 9 games out. Are you going to sell? Or are you not? I think they end up selling a few pieces. Marcus Stroman to the Angels, and I have Cody Bellinger going to the Marlins. Marlins make the Brewers bats look good, so
yeah.
to say the least. They have some amazing pitching, and then they have Luis Ariz, who they traded Pablo Lopez to the Twins for Luis Ariz, and that guy's hitting almost 400 right now, and that's like historic. So they could use another bat. He's a really good outfielder, nice vet. Um, Another pitcher, Shane Bieber. I think he's going to go to the Baltimore Orioles. They could use some more pitching. They have a lot of young, really good players. They're like the Reds of the AL, only better. Um, Josh Hader, I have him landed in Texas with the Rangers. There's part of me that wishes the Brewers could get him back, but I don't think that's realistic.
Yeah. I would
Uh,
welcome it for sure, but I don't see it happening.
I keep saying we need bullpen arm, but man, this Red series, Payamps, Pagero, and Williams as
Mm-hmm.
the 7, 8, 9 has looked pretty good. And Bryce Wilson's still in the bullpen. He's been looking okay. Colby Milner as a lefty. They could use another bullpen arm, which I'll get to later, but I don't think it's going to be Josh Hader. And the Rangers have already bought a big lefty arm in Aroldis Chapman, and they said they wanted more. So Josh Hader to the Rangers. I got two more I threw in just a few seconds ago. I think the Rangers are going to also get Jack Flaherty. Um, did I just say Josh? Yeah, Jack Flaherty. I think
Yeah.
Rangers had DeGrom. He's out for the year, so
Mm-hmm.
I mean their pitching's still pretty good, but you're going to need three good arms come postseason. So that'd be the Cardinals one sell that they do. They probably end up trading another outfielder too, but Jack Flaherty to the Rangers. And the last one, the Twins. I was gonna have CJ Cron of the Rockies go to either the Twins or the Brewers because they're two teams that have been really struggling on offense, and they both need a first baseman. But I don't know what the hell the Rockies do every year. Like that, they didn't trade Trevor Story,
Yeah.
um, and he left for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're linked to Otani, and you just saw their standings. They're way out, but their GM's like he'd be fun. Like
It
what?
would. I mean,
He
it's not
he
wrong.
would, but you're gonna suck the rest of the year.
You're gonna suck the rest of
So
the decade. You suck
I didn't
now, you're gonna give away anything, any glimpse of hope you have for one dude.
right. So I
Yeah.
just didn't predict any Rockies trades. I did get them Jeff McNeil. He's not the perfect fit for them, but that'd be kind of like a Mets small sell. Um, he'd bring another bat. He could play. He's kind of a utility guy, so I don't know. Not a great prediction on that last one, but I had to do something for the Twins. So there's my couple small predictions.
There you go.
So, do we want to get to the team we care about in baseball, Doug?
Let's talk about it. We care about the Brewers.
Yeah, the Brewers. They are
Yeah.
now back in first place in the NL Central
Damn right.
after the feisty Reds went on a
Are we
hell of a
tied?
run.
Are we tied technically?
No, we're in first place,
Are we?
52 and
Okay.
42, and the Reds are 50 and 44.
Oh, there we go. Yep.
We just swept them. So
Yeah.
10
Yeah.
games over 500. Brewers are probably playing the best baseball they've played all year.
Or at least as good as they were, to begin the year, which was damn good ball. So,
right, and then we kind of got hit by the injury bug, which
yep. It's
we're
good
gonna have.
and it's good to see now that, we were so hot and then we got injured and we're like, yeah, well, that was, I think, because I think a lot of people thought the beginning of the season was very fluky. And
Yeah,
now we're starting to see like, no, when we have some health, like these are real players.
and I mean
So
Brian Anderson hasn't played because um he had a child, so he was on maternity leave, and then he hurt his back right
yeah,
after the All-Star game, so he's
right.
been out.
Yep.
And then Luis Urias, he's been down in the minors, and I've always liked Luis Urias, but he's been down. So, and then obviously Woodruff's been out. Aaron Ashby was our big lefty last year. He's been out. I mean, I could go on and on with the injuries, and it sounds like a couple of them guys are going to be coming back soon. So maybe the Brewers don't buy as much as maybe I thought they would. Um, but we'll see. I know right now they're looking pretty good, but they got some really important games coming up against. They got 3 against the Phillies, who they were kind of hot right before the All-Star break, and this is the time they went on the run last year to make it all the way to the World Series. So that'll be a big series. Then we got the Braves and the Reds, and then back against the Braves. So fighting against the Reds again, and then the Braves, who have been the best team in baseball for the last 2 months. So I know it looks good right now. I have high hopes. I mean, Yelich has been hitting the crap out of the ball. William Contreras, Willie Adames have been good, but we'll see. Winker had a big hit today. Rowdy Tellez, I guess was running in the outfield today. I don't know what that means. His
Yeah.
bat has sucked for a while. Maybe the injury bug is going to be good for him. We'll
Yeah.
see. Um, I do have a couple predictions for the Brewers. It's nothing great. I have them getting Scott Barlow. He's a closer slash seventh, eighth inning type guy for the Royals, who are out of it to say the least. I think he'd be a good addition to the bullpen. I don't think he's going to cost a whole lot. And then I think Brandon Drury is the most Brewers trade we could ever do. He's been playing a lot of first base this year, and he's not a first baseman. He's probably a second base, third base type guy. But you can throw him in the outfield, and he's hitting the crap out of the ball. He has the last few years. He's been a journeyman the last few years, but everywhere he goes, he's hitting fourth, fifth in the lineup. He's kind of like Owen Miller, but a veteran Owen Miller. I know it's not the perfect first base uh, fill in, but maybe Tellez figures it out. If not, you can have Drury, Miller. Yeah, who knows? Maybe we do go and get another first baseman, but this is more of a Brewers type trade. So gets a guy in the bullpen. Woodruff comes back. A couple of these other guys come back. We'll see. I know the Rockies have a lot of bullpen arms too. There'd be a perfect CJ Crone and a Daniel Bard, or get Brent Suter back, get a bat and a pitcher from the Rockies. But again, I don't know what they're doing. So,
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah. Fun times to be a Brewer fan. I mean, the only thing is I'm trying to temper my expectations a little because we've had these really exciting seasons in the somewhat near past, and just to
yeah,
be absolutely devastated in the postseason or barely miss the postseason. So
yeah. I just hope we're not hitting one of them hot streaks and then we cool off.
yeah, right when it really counts, the last month of the season where we start to really slow down and kind of start feeling that burnout with the
Yeah.
inexperience. But
And I didn't even mention Burns. I mean, he's been pitching great. Like, so basically, right now we have MVP Yelich back, but it seems like, anyways, he homered again today. And then we got Cy Young Burns. That's a hell of a start there for pitching and your offense. So
yeah,
forget that. And I think Yelich hitting is kind of catching on with William Contreras has really been hitting. He's probably our best hitting catcher we've had in a long time. And if he's hitting the ball, plus his backup Carantini, the Brewers might have the best, which is kind of a theme for them for the last few years. They might have the best 1-2 catcher duo
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
league.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Which is
go Brew Crew.
I think that's just. I mean, I think that's purposeful.
Yeah, well, they're known to go get a guy that has a bat, but can't play. Can't
isn't
catch,
a great defenseman. Yeah, exactly.
because they've learned how to figure that out. Like Willie Contreras we traded for him. They're like, well, the guy can't play any. He can't frame the ball. He can't stop a bad pitch, and he might be one of the best in baseball this year. So
right. Yeah,
probably should have been an all-star along with Yelich, but not going to complain.
Yeah, I'll say we had a couple guys that were right on the borderline, but
yeah,
at least keeps us focused for not that being in the all-star game is going to be a pitching wise. I was honestly, like you said earlier, I was honestly glad like Devin Williams didn't play. Just pitchers, I'm kind of like, yeah. I mean, if they don't get in, not a huge deal, but
right.
Well, yeah, whatever. You want to talk some foosball?
Foosball.
This is so weird. We're not talking any basketball.
Yeah,
I mean, we got some stuff we could probably bring up on the next pod, minor stuff here and there, but yeah, we've been literally just the beginning of the NBA offseason is always wild. So
yeah, we're not going to talk about that big Suns trade they just made.
Yeah, real quick, because I didn't see the details. So who'd they trade for?
So they traded their only point guard on the team, Cameron Payne, to the San Antonio Spurs. And I think they just got picks back. Let me just double check. Yeah, Cameron Payne and a second-round pick and cash to the Spurs for a second-round pick. And then I guess they ended up signing Bol.
Yep, saw that.
But somehow they did a pick swap to the Magic for three future second-round picks as well. So somehow the Magic must have still had rights to Bol.
I'd say a sign and trade or something.
Which I like Bol, but I don't know if he fits that. I don't know.
I don't know what works with that team. They announced today Bradley Beal's gonna be their starting point guard. So it's like, oh, just because he's the shortest guy in your team now.
Yeah, when all reality,
a point guard.
Devin Booker would be a point guard.
He would be a just fine point guard for sure, but it don't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah. So football, there's not a whole lot of major NFL storylines right now, but training camp starts next week. So we're gonna really be late July and then obviously August when you get into preseason and training camp and things like that. That's when NFL news really starts to heat up and you get to hear about training camp battles and these guys, really starting to step up and stuff. And so it's about to get really fun in the football world, which I'm pretty jacked for. The biggest bit of news, which is ironic that we taking a week off podcasting and it happens today. DeAndre Hopkins signed with the Titans today. I honestly thought that was going to be. I thought it was just a bargaining chip. I thought it was smoke for him going to the Titans. Because I was like, there's no way he's going to play with Tennessee.
He made it sound like he'll go where the money is.
Yeah, so. And I guess, and I know he said that, and I thought that was just kind of like, again, him just trying to get a team like the Chiefs or someone. But it sounded like the Chiefs were basically like, if you want your money, we're not the team, but we'll gladly have you. So
yeah, as a Bengals fan, I'm glad he didn't go to the Bills or the Chiefs.
And the Bills, I think it sounded like the Bills pretty much said the same thing. It was like, we're not going to pay you what you're asking, but if you want to take lesser money, then obviously you can come here and have a chance for a Super Bowl. But
yeah, so the other time, sorry, real quick,
go Pat
Mac, I always said, D-Hop, just come to the Bengals. It'd be great. We don't need you, but. And then Pat McAfee said the same thing. He's like, he's going to the Bengals. What the hell? Why not? And I was like, yes, Pat McAfee.
That would be insane. I mean, it's a good fit. It's the only thing is like, who's going to be throwing him the ball? I think Tannehill's starting to go downhill.
They've traded their wide receiver one the last couple of years.
Well, they cut Robert Woods.
Right. And then they traded A.J. Brown, right?
Yep. They traded him in the draft the year before. Yeah,
it's like was that for money reasons, but then you go give D-Hop the money, like
right. So that's the weird part because they traded AJ Brown in the draft, and with that pick they selected Treylon Burks, and who basically is like the same archetype of player as AJ Brown, but they didn't want to pay AJ Brown. So they're like, well, we'll just go get the rookie version of him. Well, then Treylon Burks kind of had a rocky rookie year, especially in training camp. He looked way out of shape. Didn't look like he was trying very hard, things like that. But I think it looks like he's going to be pretty promising now. I do know the dude's got massive. He's got like Giannis size hands. He's got just massive mitts. But so he looks pretty promising. And with him and D Hop on either side, I think actually will be a fun receiving duo. And I mean, they still got Derrick Henry. They drafted this kid, Tyjae Spears, who I think is going to be kind of sneaky good running back for them. But it's just like, I don't know who's going to be throwing him the ball. I personally like Tannehill when he's on and when he's healthy.
Right.
But because I really loved him in Miami, but he, had some issues there. But they drafted Will Levis this year. I don't think Malik Willis is ever going to be an NFL caliber player. I think he could be I think he'll be a journeyman backup. So that one doesn't really bother me. But like Will Levis, they spent some capital on him. Malik Willis was third round pick. So it's kind of like, man, whatever. But
they also did change their GM. So
yeah,
the whole AJ Brown thing was
yep.
not this GM's move. So
yeah,
I guess they're kind of making up for that.
Mm-hmm.
But
so
personally,
Vrabel's a good coach, so I'm cool with that. I mean, he's like the only Patriots like Belichick disciple to like actually be a good coach, actually have some success. So I think if there's any like mediocre team he could go to that would actually utilize him well, I think it's a good landing spot. It's just
when the Titans had a wide receiver like D Hop, they were first in the AFC. So
right,
never know.
They were no scrubs. So I just worried. I think Derrick Henry's got one good year left in him.
Yeah, Tannehill's gone down since they. I mean, it's a couple more years on his belt, so he's getting older.
My prediction this year is Tannehill's probably going to get injured, and they're just going to be like, all right, let's just start going with Levis. But
yeah,
but yeah. So the 2 years, $26 million he got, which I can guarantee you, the Chiefs and the Patriots were not going to offer him that, or the Chiefs and the Bills. I meant Patriots might have, because and he was trolling hard too, because he's posting pics on IG with like Matthew Judon and stuff. And I never look into that stuff because the NFL is like a brotherhood. Like a lot of those guys they're good buds because they played together in previous teams in college, whatever else. So like, oh, he's with this dude on another team. It's like, don't look into that stuff too much. Sometimes these players just love messing with people, and I think that was what that was. So but that's exciting. Definitely clarifies his fantasy football value. So now,
I mean, there's other guys out there too.
There's some decent receivers out there.
Not just receivers, but running backs.
Well, Dalvin still. So Dalvin Cook supposedly got offered a contract by the Dolphins, but didn't like the number. So I don't think him to the Dolphins is dead, but I think he's still waiting for a bigger number. And if he doesn't get it, then he'll probably just say, all right, I'll go for what you offered.
Well, go meet with the Titans. They're handing out money.
Yeah. Some people are saying don't rule out him going back to Minnesota either.
They've been saying the same thing for Zeke.
Yeah, actually, the Zeke thing makes sense. I don't think Dalvin going back to Minnesota makes sense because Dalvin is clearly still good.
Yeah,
but Zeke is clearly not Zeke of old. So
and the Cowboys don't really have that 5-yard line type runner either.
No, they don't. Like Pollard can be, but
but he's not that heavy running back more type. Yeah.
I think they should do that. Just bring Zeke back and be like, dude, we love having you on this team. You're going to be the dude who takes the big hits and drives the pile and gets crap beat out of you because we want Tony Pollard to stay fresh.
Right.
But not the worst role to have. I mean, at least you don't got to move to a different team and a different city, and everyone will love you because you'll accept a role. So, I mean, I think that would be the smartest for him. There's no job he could take right now to be a starter.
No.
Bengals
just announced they're keeping Mixon.
Staying. Yep. So it's like, and every year there's at least 3 or 4 rookies who rookie running backs who become legitimate guys right out of the gate. Yeah. Not like, Saquon Barkley or Zeke right out of the gate, but like legitimate snaps in the NFL right away. So, and there's a lot of good running backs this year. So I don't.
If he doesn't go back to the Cowboys, there's plenty of teams where he could have that same role that he would have on the Cowboys.
Right.
Like the Bengals could use a guy like that.
Yeah, but why go somewhere else to do the same thing?
Yeah,
Stay
I
with
mean,
all your teammates, stay with all your buddies, stay with your coach who wants to apparently run the ball a lot more this year.
yeah.
So
And personally, I don't think I would want my last play as a Dallas Cowboy to be the last play that he had.
right. Yes.
I don't
Honestly,
care if you go back for one down,
he should just be
run it.
like, just I'll come back for one season and like just try it
Yeah,
out. If he has a pretty decent year, then maybe he'll get a mediocre contract. I don't know, or at least a longer term thing. But
yeah. Less
yeah,
of a head, yeah, less of a spotlight on him might help him
right.
too.
Yeah.
So
Real quick here before we wrap up the first half. The Jets got selected for Hard Knocks. Have you watched Hard Knocks?
it's been a while, but I was
I
so happy to see that.
Yes. So we have it's not called HBO Max now. It's just called Max, but we now have Max and I'm super excited to watch it. That's gonna be good TV.
I
The Jets did not want to do it.
as soon as I saw that too, and I was like, Aaron's gonna be effing pissed.
They were
And
open.
he is.
They were open about it. They were like, this is gonna be super inconvenient. And the NFL is probably like, yeah, that's exactly why we're doing what Aaron Rodgers leaves the Packers after a historic career and all this drama for the past 2 years, and he goes and does the exact same thing that Brett Favre does. Yeah, we're gonna be following you guys around with cameras.
Yeah. I mean,
I
it's a smart
can't
move
wait
by
to
them,
see. He's
but
probably gonna
that
be
sucks for
super
the
petty
Jets.
too. It does suck for the Jets, honestly, because I think Robert Saleh probably like is arguably on the hot seat. So he's probably
Yeah.
like, I don't need this crap right now. But oh, I'm so jacked for it. That's gonna be fun. There were 4 teams, so there you can say no to Hard Knocks. You got to meet certain qualifications, like I think what were they? There was something about if you haven't made the playoffs in the last 2 seasons.
You
And
basically can't be the dumpster of the NFL.
well, not exactly though. I mean, so there were only 4 teams that could not say no. And it was the Jets, the Bears, the Commanders, and the Saints were the only teams that would have been forced to do it had the NFL selected them. But again, it was an easy call. Everyone was like, it's going to be, and there have been rumors for months that it was going to be the Jets because everyone
If
knew
you had to pick one of the other 3 teams, who would you pick?
Bears, Commanders, Saints.
I'd probably pick the Saints just to see Derek Carr in that new role.
Yeah, I mean, the Commanders would be super boring. Sam Howell,
Yeah.
let's see how that's going to go. But I think Bears would be fun. I mean, trading for DJ Moore,
And they got a lot of hype this year.
Yeah, Ryan Pace going in there, a lot of hype, new coach, Eberflus and stuff. So that one would have been fun, but it's no question.
So that's our product of the week.
I got a product of the week, but
okay, good.
But yeah, but yeah, if you even if on and I know a few people that do that, wait till later on, but like just go get 1 month of max and then
Right.
it all. So yeah. Speaking of NFL stuff, this is gonna be the first time we talk. Is it the first time we talk fantasy football, or did we talk fantasy football last NFL season?
I don't think we did. I think we just mentioned that we were going to do some fantasy football.
Yeah, because I think by the time we started the pod, fantasy football season was over. The football season was still on, but I think the fantasy season was over. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm obsessed with fantasy football. It's almost sickening,
to say the least. He's obsessed.
Yeah, I freaking love it. It's fun, but I commission 2 leagues now. I was just commissioning one, doing a 12-man. PPR is the only way to go, where you get 1 full point for every reception. Half PPR, where you get half a point for every reception, is okay, but I like the full PPR because it widens your range of guys you can that can provide value to your team. But 12 teams is always a really good spot. I've been in an 18-man league before, and that was wild. I liked that, but that was for like the dudes who were like super into fantasy. So if that's not you, don't ever join a league.
You got to know your guys.
Yeah. If you're like just a casual football fan and want to, join a $20 league, don't join a huge league like that. 12 is a really good number. I think 10 is not a super great number. And even 8, my very first fantasy league I ever did when I was in like high school, we did 8 and we thought it was fun because your team is just stacked. But it's not as much fun when everyone's team is stacked. It's fun to have some strategy and take advantage of guys who might not know things that and things like that. So So we do the redraft one every year. We keep one player on our team. And then I'm starting, and you're in both of these leagues, Bryce. Starting a dynasty league, which is going to be super exciting. So your entire team rolls over every year. It's kind of like you're a real GM, which is like what Bryce and I, we always joke, and our wives joke about it. Whenever we would play like sports video games, we wouldn't even play the games. We would just like run the teams and trade and do jerseys and numbers and everything else. And this is, I mean, that's kind of like a dynasty league. You get to, it's a lot of transactions, a lot of looking ahead to the future, and it's the most realistic version of fantasy football. So I'm excited for that.
Yep.
So,
A quick round of applause for you for running both of them and and doing this podcast. It's like you have 4 kids.
right, right.
You do a lot. Good job, Doug.
I just like to do it. Yeah. So we're gonna start talking about fantasy on here every week. This week we're gonna keep it simple. We're gonna do our top 10 fantasy football quarterbacks for the season. These are not, we're probably not going to talk much dynasty stuff because I'm still new to it and I don't want to give my like advice on dynasty football. I mean, I probably think I have decent advice for it, but I haven't done it long enough. So everything we talk about for fantasy, at least for this year, is going to be in redraft leagues where you redraft player like a new team every year. But with that being
said,
you know
what? We should have done this fantasy style, and you draft one and I draft one, but
maybe
next year.
We might do a mock draft on here. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, so we're gonna go through our top 10 fantasy quarterbacks for the season. So we'll start top of the list. So like number 1 best quarterback, and then we'll go down to number 10. Yep. Did you say you want to go first, Bryce, or me?
You're the fantasy man. I'll follow you.
Fantasy man. My number 1 is Josh Allen. It was a close call between, I mean, spoiler alert, it's between him and Mahomes. That's the argument, for me anyways. But Mahomes is obviously the superior player. But again, in fantasy, you got to set aside just how good a real football player these guys are and what they can do to the stats, because fantasy football is all stats. Not about leadership. It's not about character. It's about what stats you could put on the board. Josh Allen just got a cannon, loves to launch the football, loves to stretch the field, and he's got great legs and he's huge. He's like a fast Ben Roethlisberger. So yes, I think he's the clear-cut number 1 guy this year. Just got a really good tight end. And I know rookie tight ends don't usually do anything, but Dalton Kincaid looks like a stud. So they just made the offense even better with their rookie. So Josh Allen, number 1 for me.
So I had Mahomes, I've had Mahomes in fantasy before he was this Patrick Mahomes. So I know how good he is. Mm-hmm. And I agree, Josh Allen's very good, but my number 1 is actually Jalen Hurts.
I wondered about that. Yeah.
I factor in injuries too with this, because if your top quarterback goes out and you're in like a 12-man league like us, it's hard to find a backup quarterback, honestly, sometimes. And I think he's in a weaker conference, which helps. Doesn't help a lot, I guess, but yeah, I just think he stays healthy. He runs the ball like Josh Allen, he can throw the ball. He's got good weapons. I mean, it's nitpicking, but I just think it's Jalen Hurts.
It really is splitting hairs with the top 3.
Yeah.
Allen, Mahomes, and Hurts are definitely like tier 1 fantasy quarterbacks. Like those are going to be.
We're not quite there yet.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, because I've already discussed that I was debating between Allen and Mahomes. And yeah, I guess for me, maybe. Okay, sorry, maybe I'm ruining it. For me, they're definitely in a tier of their own. So let's just jump to number 2. So my number 2 is actually Mahomes, like I said. Again, splitting hairs, so don't read too far into this that Bryce has Jalen Hurts 1 and I have him 3. It's a very close 1, 2, 3. Different skill sets. The only reason I put Mahomes above Hurts is just because he's just rock solid. Jalen Hurts very well could score more fantasy points than Mahomes this year, but I think Mahomes will average more fantasy points per game. And it's just kind of like like I said, he's just rock solid. He's always going to be really good. Hurts is going to have some great, amazing games. Mahomes, he will have some amazing games, but he doesn't use his legs as much. Then Hurts, obviously, with when he's getting 100 rushing yards and then 250 plus with, at least a couple touchdowns. He's going to have a great game. But like I said, Mahomes is just rock solid. He doesn't use his legs as much, but that just goes to show how he's such a good fantasy quarterback without using his legs very often. So, and his off-script plays are just phenomenal.
I guess I'll argue why it's not Mahomes and Allen.
Okay.
Mahomes has actually only played 17 full games in the last 2 seasons. So he's played 1 full season. So, and Mahomes goes pretty early in fantasy football for drafts.
He does.
And there's a guy that doesn't get hurt anymore after his rookie year and has the most weapons in the NFL.
Ooh.
And he throws to all of his running backs. He always makes his tight end better. He's got an offensive line this year, and he just keeps getting better and better and doesn't throw interceptions anymore. So, Joe Burrow is my number 2.
There it is. Wow. Okay.
He just has so many weapons. Like, he's never going to have a bad fantasy game. He just gets better and better every year.
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
He might not get the top tier Mahomes had. Holy crap, that's a lot of points this game. But he's always going to be right there. I would rather have consistency, know he's going to be there. He can run too when he needs to. He's kind of got that Aaron Rodgers type one. Yeah. He might not run for the Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes yards, but
if he had 45 yards in a game, you wouldn't be that shocked.
Right. I mean, he's had a few that were pushing 100.
Yeah, and you get a point for every 10 yards, and
and
2 off-script plays. That's an extra 2 points. I mean, in fantasy, you'll take what you can get.
And behind Mixon, we got a lot of rookie running backs and young running backs, so I think they're just going to throw the ball more.
Yeah.
And Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, I mean, it's almost payday, so they're going to be out there earning that. Yeah. And I think Irv Smith Jr. might be the most high-end potential tight end he's had. I mean, we'll see. I just think he's loaded with weapons. So,
yeah, that's fair. Wow, yeah, that's crazy. I will say, like, my top 6 quarterbacks, they're not far off. Like I said, you're splitting hairs with a lot of these conversations. So I have Allen and Mahomes 1 and 2. Bryce has Hurts, Burrow 1 and 2. So this is going to get interesting. I will say, I have quite a few fantasy championships in our league, and Bryce has been.
Yeah, I haven't been great. If somebody would stop trading with me all year, I'd be all right.
I annoy so many people in fantasy football with trade offers, and maybe some of them are listening. They're probably not. But here's my advice to you. Don't be afraid to be the annoying guy in fantasy, because your team that you draft on the draft day is not going to be the team that wins you a championship. It never is. I've won quite a few fantasy championships, and rarely have I had more than like 4 guys that I drafted on my team. So,
have you tried to trade yet this year, Doug?
I've had a conversation about Dynasty.
Okay.
Yep.
So there's a guy I don't know.
I've not offered a trade.
There's a guy I don't know named Jordan that messaged me asking for a trade already. And I said, buddy, I trade too much and I don't even want to trade.
Yeah. So in our Dynasty League, our number 1 pick got traded already. We set the draft order, and then our number 1 pick got traded within like days of releasing the draft order. So he traded the number 4 overall pick and a later round pick to move up to number 1, and then the guy jumped back to 4 and got that late round pick. So it was a big trade. Yeah. So let's go to number 3 here. My number 3 is Jalen Hurts. And again, I think Allen's, Mahomes, and Hurts are on a tier of their own. I love Jalen Hurts. I love the dude. I said him coming out of college, the dude was not getting enough respect, and he's going to show it in the NFL, especially just for being a great leader. And he's doing awesome. He's doing great.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for the dude. He's obviously a very amazing dual threat quarterback. He is like just fantasy goodness. It's just sometimes he does have some kind of like moments. But he's still an MVP caliber quarterback. It's just when you compare him to Allen and Mahomes, they're just like, they're a little more, have a better pocket presence than he does. A lot of his stuff is off script, but he's still a phenomenal quarterback and a very intelligent quarterback. So again, splitting hairs, but Jalen Hurts my number 3.
I'm just gonna do my 3 and 4. It's Mahomes and then Allen.
Okay.
I think Mahomes. I don't think either one of those teams are going to be better than they were last year, but it's not a team thing. And I think honestly, if I got to split hairs and pick one, I think Mahomes he's going to have a lot of these young guys be better next year. I think I like his young receiving core,
It's
which
not a bad.
matters.
Yeah, it's not a bad team.
Some of them are going to flop, but um, yeah, I have Mahomes at 3 and then Allen at 4. I don't need to say a whole lot more after. I mean, we've talked about him this whole time here, so
Yeah, no, Chiefs. I love Kadarius Toney as a fantasy
yes,
guy, but he 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 plays maybe 8 games a year. He's the kind of guy if you draft
yeah,
him in fantasy, if he
I already did.
like
Didn't have him.
if he's healthy, put him in the starting line.
He
But
was he a
don't
rookie
rely.
last year?
Uh yes,
I
yes he was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
had two
For
rookie
the
wide
Giants.
receivers this last year.
Yeah,
I had two rookie wide receivers last year. I had Tony and I had Bateman, both out
right.
for the year. Well,
Yeah,
then Tony ended up getting traded and coming back, but he got hurt again, I think. So
And Kadarius Toney's target percentage when he was on the field was insane.
yeah,
It's just he was rarely on the field. When he's playing, he's electric. But it's like if you have him in fantasy and you're watching a Chiefs game, you're like, this dude could go out of the game any second. So
and Juju's gone now. So
yep, no more Juju. So they still got MVS. Sky Moore ended the season pretty well. They have Kadarius Toney, and then they drafted this kid named Rashee Rice, who I don't think he'll get in the starting lineup, but I think he'll look pretty good. And then they still have Travis Kelce, obviously. So
if they would have kept Juju, they could have had the coolest, most unique names as a receiving core.
yeah, right. No kidding.
But
So my number 4, you mentioned Rashad Bateman, is Lamar Jackson. Lamar has had some kind of ups and downs. His last 2 seasons have been very injury riddled, but before that, he was like without a doubt the number 1 fantasy quarterback. So, obviously, very dual threat, awesome with his legs, but he's a legit quarterback, and he is. I'm not going to say he's a legit pocket passer, but he is a good pocket passing quarterback. He's just never had anyone to throw to. He's a good quarter. Like you take his legs away, he is still an above average NFL quarterback from the pocket.
the thing I just worry about though is he can't stay healthy.
It is the health. It definitely is the health, and how he runs is like I'd be like, God, like don't do that. Like he's taking hits he doesn't need to take.
Which, to his defense, maybe this year he won't be taking those because he's actually got a couple guys. We'll see how much Odell's got left in the tank, but
yeah. So, they got Todd Monken now as their OC. They got rid of I can't even remember the dude, but he ran such an archaic offense.
yeah.
I forgot their old.
I'm not gonna remember his name.
But... Yeah, God, I should know it too. But so anyways, I think with that and the addition of Odell, if he, however long he's playing, and then they drafted oh crud, who did they draft? I like the kid too. I'm just having a brain fart here.
I'm not gonna remember.
Real quick, give me 3 seconds. Zay Flowers, thank you, out of Boston College. He's a really good yak guy. I think they took him like 22nd overall or something. But he's really exciting. He's a really explosive dude. So with him, Bateman, and Odell, that could be a really scary offense. And Mark Andrews and their rookie tight end from last year, Isaiah Likely, who was looking nice. So they have a really good offense. It's just about health. And Lamar, if Lamar's healthy, he will do Lamar things. So Lamar's my number 4. Number 5.
Yeah. You could go again.
Okay. Justin Herbert. I'm a major Justin Herbert truther, and I hate to be the guy who said I said that before anyone else. But when he was in the draft, I said that dude is going to be a great NFL quarterback, because it's like if you could draw up in a lab what an NFL quarterback, it's Justin Herbert. Size, speed, athleticism, intelligence. He's got it all. The thing that was his biggest knock against him was like, well, he's like got a really shy personality, not a super like macho leader in the locker room. It's like, is he a really good quarterback?
Yeah, that's all that matters.
The dude's a really good quarterback, and he's tall and he's fast. and he is a great passer. It's very accurate. Like they've just the Chargers just they got a bad coach, and now that they got and I know so Kellen Moore is their new OC. I know he wasn't like the wizard he was supposed to be with Dallas, but Dallas is also hard to do anything, exciting.
Yeah.
Mike McCarthy's your head coach, and then Jerry Jones is your owner. Um, but with Kellen Moore coming in, and they drafted that Quentin Johnson out of TCU, who you really liked, that wide receiver, because Mike Williams is always hurt. Keenan Allen's starting to get that same way too. But they got Joshua Palmer and Quentin Johnson now backing those two guys up. They ended up Austin Eckler ended up staying with the team. I think sky's the limit for Justin Herbert. I really think he's going to be an MVP caliber guy within the next 3 seasons. I think he'll be in the conversation within 3 seasons.
Well, that's a perfect segue to my number 5, Trevor Lawrence.
Ooh, T-Law.
I think he has a top 3 receiving core. I think the sky's the limit for him. Yeah. Wow. With Ridley coming back, they got Zay Jones, Kirk. I think they're a very good team, and I think they're in a kind of a crap division. Yeah. We'll see, I guess, this year. But I guess he hasn't got hurt, but it's been a couple of years, so we'll see. That's my big thing. I don't like the risky quarterbacks. I do, but I don't. I like to play it safe a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's why Mahomes fell. That's why Lamar's going to fall out of my top 5. Josh Allen doesn't get hurt, but I've never been a huge Josh Allen guy.
Mahomes is safe, though.
He gets hurt a lot, though, and he's not safe. I don't know. Personally,
I don't think he gets hurt a lot. I think he just,
like I said, though, he's played one full season the last 2 years.
Happens. He played.
It does.
Like how many games he missed? That many games?
I looked it up. Season? Full games, like didn't play a half, or he missed something because he tweaked something.
Sure,
he's played 17 full games. I was struggling between him and Herbert. Spoiler. Sure. He's my number 6.
Okay.
I just think there's a higher with his receiving core. I just think there's a better chance. I mean, Herbert's got a pretty good receiving core too, but I personally like the Jaguars. Offense.
I like the Jags offense for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're very similar. They're very similar quarterbacks, honestly. It's just you've seen it from Herbert already. You haven't seen T-Law live up to what he was supposed to, but like the archetype, again, draw a quarterback up in the lab. He's the same kind of guy.
Trevor Lawrence has won a playoff game. Herbert hasn't done crap yet, but
it's fair. I mean, it's fair. I think the coaching is a big thing. I can very well see Trevor Lawrence being better than Herbert this year. And if that's the case, it's because of coaching. Because Brandon Staley's a bad coach and Doug Peterson's a good coach. So that's
my number 6 too. So you said everything I could say about Herbert. So you just go to your 6 and 7.
My 6 is Joe Burrow. So he's your number 2. He's my number 6. So my thing with Burrow, and again, I love Burrow. I think he's a great fantasy quarterback. I just think he's more of the safe option, which is the kind of, like we said, is the kind of guy I'm attracted to. So I think Burrow's going to be rock solid. I think he's a slam dunk 18 fantasy points a game, which is like, if you could just say that for the season, like, I want my quarterback guaranteed 18 points a game, or I want this guy who could either get me 35 or 13. It's like, who would you take? I'd take the 18 every time.
And he'll give you that 32 every third week.
Yeah. Once a month. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And because he's got the same receiving core that he's used to. Like, these guys are a tight unit. No major changes in coaching. Like, I mean, it's just running it back.
Yeah. So, I also haven't mentioned it. You got to factor in the team's defense too, because if the defense is setting you up terribly, then you have to take chances.
Exactly.
And you're going to throw interceptions
and fumble the ball.
The Bengals got a good defense. I mean, I factor in the whole thing. It's not just the quarterback I'm picking. Like Lamar Jackson, he's the fastest quarterback in the league. Patrick Mahomes is the wildest thrower in the league, and Josh Allen's the hardest thrower and the toughest runner. But to me personally, I like the safe. I'm guaranteed 16.5 to 30 points every week.
Yeah.
If your quarterback scores 38 this week and mine scores 27, oh well. I know mine's gonna play next week. Is yours?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So yeah, I think we're kind of on the same page. I like Burrow a lot. I think he's a future Hall of Famer. And arguably an MVP player. It's just we're talking fantasy football here. So
Yeah.
my number 7 is Trevor Lawrence. So we're kind of, I mean, we're basically on the same page. It's just you putting a number by a name and ranking. But
Well, you wait for my next one.
yeah, okay. Well, good. But I love Trevor Lawrence as well. He clearly hasn't lived up to the hype, but if you were drafted into a team with Urban Meyer as your coach with that hot garbage, then I think like Joe Namath, John Elway, Joe Montana themselves would have also done the same thing. Like that was just a mess. And Urban Meyer is just a disgusting human being, and it just wasn't good. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. He's obviously talented. He's obviously athletic. He's obviously got a solid arm. And Doug Peterson is like the quarterbacks guy. So, I mean, he won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. So, and he was Carson Wentz's coach that I mean, it's obviously the same year. Carson Wentz was like in the MVP conversation before he got hurt that season. And look at him now.
Right.
So, and Nick Foles, look at him now. Neither of them are doing anything.
Carson Wentz, future backup quarterback for the Packers.
Ooh, no thanks.
I take it.
Teddy's out there. I'd rather have Teddy. But anyway, so Trevor Lawrence, I think, and he'll have some on his legs too. I could see Trevor Lawrence having a 60-yard rushing game here and there. That's 6 fantasy points.
Yeah.
I mean, he can scramble. He's got legs, but he's kind of like Herbert. Maybe not as much of a runner as Herbert, but not far off. But he's still going to make some mistakes. But yeah, like you said, I like their offense a lot. I am tempering my I've been like super high on Calvin Ridley since he signed with the Jags. I'm tempering my expectations just a little. Just because it has been a full year off of football, and he had some mental health concerns even before all the gambling stuff. So
yeah,
I mean, and I hate to use that personal because like I get it, people are human beings. I hate to use that personal stuff against guys, but it's like you got to consider this stuff when you're talking statistical fantasy football. So I love Calvin Ridley. Don't get me wrong, and I think when all is said and done, Christian Kirk's still probably going to be the number 1 receiver on this team, at least for this year. It might be a 1A, 1B situation where that's probably more likely, but
when you can have that argument, that's a good thing, though.
Exactly, it's a Jamar Chase, T. Higgins thing, maybe. And I mean, a version of that, I guess, but
it'd be different too if Ridley was going to a team where he had to be the wide receiver 1.
Yeah,
it's not going to be a lot less pressure on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you mentioned Zay Jones. Zay Jones is awesome.
Right.
Evan Ingram got extended this weekend, so they clearly believe in him. Got a 3-year extension for good money.
Right.
ETN's explosive. So I mean, things are looking up in Jags land, which is cool. So
my number 7, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. The injury bug really shows in my list. I almost started throwing my injury guys in, and then I threw this guy in at 10, but instead Daniel Jones comes in at number 7.
I love it.
He doesn't get hurt. I don't love his weapons. I mean, it can't be as bad as last year, right? He still got Saquon for safety back there if need be. And
we'll see if he has Saquon.
He'll be there.
Yeah, there's talks he could miss week 1. But
well, good. Guess what? Daniel Jones has got to throw more then if he's your quarterback.
he'll be there at some point. I also
right.
That, yeah.
But Daniel Jones, a big thing with him, he's a very underrated runner.
Yes, big time.
Very underrated
for fantasy. He was like a top 5 scrambling quarterback, maybe even more than that. Yeah, he's a legit like fantasy running quarterback for sure.
And he's gonna be there every game. Yeah. That's what I love.
Didn't he clock was it last year or the season before? He clocked the fastest like straight line speed time or something.
I don't doubt that.
There was some wild stat where he it was like he had clocked the fastest open field speed in like the entire league that season or something. There was some wild stat. He's not a slowpoke by any means. So
yeah, I mean it's close when it comes to Daniel Jones and then my next 3 guys who are all injury prone.
Sure.
But I know he's going to be there, and then I don't have to worry about, well, who's my backup quarterback? How many weeks am I going to have to play him? Do I have to try to make a trade now? Am I going to drop him and pick somebody else up? Who the hell's out on the fantasy open market that is worth playing a game? I've been in that position where you're picking up, like, let's say a Titans quarterback. Okay, well, is it Tannehill playing? Is Will Levis playing? All of a sudden, game time, they switch to the other quarterback, and you're screwed. I've been in those positions.
Yeah.
So,
yep. Yeah, for sure. My number 8. That was your number 7. So this is my number 8. Justin Fields. This one was tough for me. I almost didn't. I knew I had to put him in my top 10, and then I might have just unconsciously Bears hate coming in a little bit. I don't love Justin Fields, the regular NFL quarterback in real life. I think he's very promising. Don't get me wrong. But for fantasy, I mean, the sky's the limit for this kid. And now that he's actually got some people to throw the ball to, kind of like Lamar.
Yeah.
I mean, Justin Fields gives me young Lamar vibes. And and again, he's not a running back who can throw. He is a quarterback who can run. Like, the dude can throw the ball. I mean, go watch his film in college, and I mean, you can't go too much off his Bears film right now because, again, when Darnell Mooney is your number 1, and who knows who your number 2 is before you get Chase Claypool, like, he hasn't had anyone to throw the ball to. So I'm really excited for him in fantasy. He's going to have 100-yard rushing games, which are just the running quarterbacks in fantasy football, if they stay healthy, are so valuable. And he's young, and this franchise is all about that kid. So the sky's the limit for him. So I think I don't know that he'll end up being a top 10 fantasy quarterback. I think honestly he could land anywhere. Like, I could see him being a top 3 fantasy quarterback. I could see him falling out of the top 10. But I think it's just the ceiling is so high that
I could see him anywhere from 2 to 14, honestly.
Yeah. I'm thinking, right. I mean, obviously I ranked him here, but I'm thinking anywhere around 8 is probably where he's going to be ending up, because he's going to have turnovers. He's going to make some dumb plays. I mean, their defense has improved a little bit, but it's not the Chicago Bears defense of old. So, and it's a new team. It's a brand new, I mean, it's a whole new roster damn near. So,
and
they have really good running backs too. So they should be handing the ball off a lot, besides his runs. So what do you got?
My number 8, Tua. He's got the weapons. He's just got to stay healthy. The guy can run if he needs to. He has the second best receiving core in the league. That obviously, receiving core is a big thing for me too. I think it obviously got Burrow very high, and then I got Trevor Lawrence pretty high.
So your top 3 receiving cores, then, I assume, is Bengals, Dolphins,
Jaguars,
and then Jaguars. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's most of it right there. I think the injury thing, I think they're gonna. I could see him missing a game just to play it safe, like, oh, he took a big hit. But I think he also might play a little smarter. He might play a little safe. We'll see what happens, but that receiving core, he don't have to do a lot. Here you go, Tyree.
He doesn't. Yeah.
Boom.
Yep. And with his running backs too. And in fantasy, you make a 1-yard forward pass to a running back, and he takes it to the house, because they have Raheem Mostert, who's one of the fastest dudes in the league. And they just drafted Devon Achane, who's going to be like already probably top 5 speed in the league next year. They literally have like 4 of the 5 fastest guys in football on their offense. So
I think if you drop Tua on, I don't know, tell me a bad team or a bad receiving core, I don't think he's top 25 personally, with the injuries and everything else, his passing ability. But I think with his offense that he's got, I think he's my number 8. So
I mean, I was all aboard the Tua train last year, just because with Tyreek going there, I was kind of like, I think, and that's basically what happened. Is like, I don't think he's a stellar quarterback. I just think it's like, it's hard to screw up with, and it's not that the receiving core is loaded. It's just what type of player those guys are. Those are the kind of guys where, give me the ball and I'll do the
right.
And he's got arguably the 2 best wide receivers in the league to do that with. So, I don't hate it. I don't see it. That worries me. That dude worries me just for his health in general. I really hope he's
If we're in a
with all
keepers
that
league or
stuff.
whatever, if you're just doing a regular first
Yeah, a
year
redraft
draft,
league. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. In our dynasty league, I'm not touching him. So spoiler
no,
alert. I'm guessing I'm giving away tips.
yeah, we're giving our.
League mates, but
We
yeah.
didn't think about this. We're giving everything
Oh,
away.
I thought about it. I thought about it, but we'll see if they even listen. So we'll test if they listen. We'll just make fun of
Yeah,
them and
jerks.
see. Yeah, my favorite fantasy football podcast. They actually and they're like exploded now. They're called Fantasy Footballers. They started their podcast just for their league mates for their fantasy football league, just to like basically mess with each other and make fun of the guys who lost big, and it took off. So there you go.
We could talk code, see who listened.
Yes, we could. All right,
All right.
number 9. I have Danny Dimes. I was glad you put him on your list. I think the dude is so underappreciated. He might Daniel. I think Justin Herbert is my favorite quarterback in the league. I think Daniel Jones is my number 2. I love that guy.
I knew you liked him.
Yeah, and you put him with one of your top 3 receiving cores in the league.
Yeah,
I put him top 5 on this list.
yeah,
He's a legit runner.
You put him on the Dolphins, I might take him number 1.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say because he's a slinger, man. Like he wants to throw downfield. You don't have to throw. I mean, obviously you can throw down.
If you have Tyreek Hill, hike,
yeah.
he's outrunning everybody,
just
and you
throw
just
it. Yeah, just
which Tua can't
60
do
yards. He'll get there. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah,
I mean,
I think that would make him number 1.
But he would definitely be in the conversation for top 5 fantasy QB. But I think he definitely deserves to be in the top 10 just for preseason rankings. He's and that's what the Giants receiving core isn't bad. They got a lot of good guys, just not any great guys. But they have phenomenal depth. So they have like 6 good receivers.
They got like 6 Tyler Boyds on the team.
Kinda. Yeah, kinda. Yep. So and they brought in Darren Waller. I know he's gonna be 30 now.
Yeah, that's another reason I picked I forgot to mention him. I think that's a legit tight end.
He is. It's just he's another one if he's healthy.
Yes.
So they had that Bellinger. They had a tight end or something. That was kind of big guy for them last year. Saquon, even if he holds out all offseason, I mean he's gonna eventually show up, which will obviously help. But yeah, no, I love Daniel Jones too. I hope they make some kind of in-season move for a wide receiver, but they'd have to like ship out 2 of their guys because their depth chart would just be stupid if they.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping Odell would just go back to New York.
I sneakily was too, but it was more of a hope than a prediction. So I get it.
They're going to be one of those teams that waits a year for one of the Bengals receivers or one of the Dolphins.
Yeah.
That aren't locked up. Anyways, I'm going to hit my 9 and my 10.
Okay. We got about 2 minutes. So yeah.
It's Lamar at 9 and Justin Fields at 10. I don't need to say a whole lot. The injury concerns me. But for both of them, I guess, especially Lamar.
Yeah. Fields hasn't really had major injury concerns yet, but
he's that type of player that's gonna
get hit,
banged up. He's gonna get hit. So, and he's not a big guy. I don't need to say a whole lot more than that. I think Odell's got a better receiving core. The problem with Odell,
Lamar, you mean?
The problem with Lamar is that he's in a division that has some really good defense.
Yeah.
The Bengals defense is going to get to you. The Steelers defense is definitely going to get to you. And then Myles Garrett's going to get to you.
I was going to say the Browns, Myles Garrett. Yeah.
So that right there, that's one of the big reasons he's banged up every year. And those defenses aren't going anywhere, and you got to play him that many times in a year. So he's at 9. Justin Fields could easily take over our division. I could see it. I could also see him sucking, like you said earlier. I could see him being top 5. I can see him being middle of the pack.
Yep.
So
my number 10, real quick, I have Dak Prescott. That was a tough one for me. The number 10 spot, I was debating between quite a few guys, but like just remains on the same team. He's still got CeeDee Lamb. They brought in Brandon Cooks, which I really like. They still have Michael Gallup. I think Dak. I think it's overrated how underrated he is, which is kind of weird to say, but it's like he's the last couple of years he's had these bonehead plays at, in crunch time and stuff. But for fantasy, one bonehead play, unless it's an interception, but like even then, like is not going to ruin a fantasy performance. He's a good fantasy quarterback. If Dak's healthy and slinging the ball and he runs occasionally, Like he's a good fantasy quarterback. So I mean, and everyone said, "Oh, Mike McCarthy's gonna pound the ball this year," which is all fine and dandy, but like you still have to throw the ball. So even those teams that are like historically run heavy offenses still throw the ball.
I know that we were just doing top 10, but did you fill out any further?
No, I didn't on my list, but
Okay, I ended up going to 15, but
you want to just list them? We only
um,
got 1 minute, but you can list them real quick if you want.
I did have Geno Smith, Jared Goff, um, Derek Carr. I just holding on to him for
Yeah,
dear life.
yeah,
I almost threw in Russell Wilson, but that guy screwed me last year.
yeah. It was tough.
Dak Prescott, and then who was my last one? Desmond Ritter. I threw him in there. I think he has that. Justin Fields could be. I don't think he has top 5 potential, but I think he has top 10.
Wow, interesting.
I think the guy can. I don't know. I don't love that, but he's a guy I'd take a chance on if the top 10 quarterbacks, top 12 quarterbacks were gone,
Sure.
and I just love
Yeah,
the rest of my team. I'd be like,
throwing a
what the
flyer,
hell?
late
I
round
might
flyer.
draft. I might draft another quarterback, not too much later, but
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's all we wrote. Top 10 fantasy QBs. Me and Bryce had for the most part we had the top 10 the
I think
same,
we had
except you
one
had
different.
you had Tua and I had Dak was the biggest difference. So just different order, which is fun though. It's like I said, it's splitting hairs. So yeah, we'll continue next week, obviously. I'm gonna talk some Packers rookies next week. We'll do some more positional breakdowns, some more baseball. So lots of fun stuff to come.
We should have a new guest.
We
He's going
might.
to pick the
Yes, we
position
might.
for fantasy
Yes, we might.
rankings.
Exciting stuff coming on the pod. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Have a wonderful week,
Peace.
and we'll hopefully see you next week. All right. Peace. Bucks and six.